Brighton's finest.
This is Juice.
At the end of this week, on Friday, you'll be playing a sold-out Concorde 2.
We will indeed, yeah. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can remember back in 2008, I think it was, where you shared a lineup with Friendly Fires, Crystal Castles, and Team Water Polo for the Top Man New Music Tour.
Yeah, a long time ago. That was the first tour we did, really. So good times for sure. Amazing lineup, actually. The Friendly Fires we ended up touring with a few times. I think we even went to the States with them, and they became pretty good friends of ours. And it's a shame, actually, they haven't released anything for a little while. I think I've heard sort of mutterings and rumblings that they might be working on some new material, but I don't know.
But yeah, they do sound like fun people. You know, Crystal Castle's always got this reputation for being a bit crazy and...
Yeah, I mean, I think with Crystal Castles, they're quite intimidating. I remember we were quite intimidated of them before we met them and before we started touring with them. And they definitely take a bit of getting used to. But they are lovely people. We're big fans of theirs, definitely.
And then not too long after that, actually, you ended up sharing the stage with The Cure at the O2.
We did.
And that was a month after your debut album came out.
Yeah, that was with Crystal Castles as well, in fact, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was intense. I feel like it takes you a few years and a few of those kind of shows to get used to playing to such a big audience and get used to playing in such a big venue, especially somewhere like the O2. And I think we were rabbits in the headlights back then. And obviously playing with The Cure is pretty intimidating. But yeah, it feels like we've come a long way. I mean, it must be almost 10 years since those shows, which is crazy. You know, that we've sort of been going that long. It kind of feels like we're a proper band now. This is actually a career rather than just a 5-year hiatus.
From day-to-day normality, I can imagine.
Exactly, yeah.
How do you think your live show has changed from those early days?
From my personal perspective, I think I've learned how to open up a lot more on stage. And that is something I had to learn. Like, I think it goes without saying that playing in front of people is kind of a terrifying experience, or it certainly can be. To really engage with an audience, especially if it's a big audience, at a festival, for example, you need to lay yourself out there, and you need to look confident even if you don't feel it, and to try and sort of embrace people and bring people into your world and into your music. And that's really difficult. That's something that took me a long time to sort of learn how to do. And I feel like every year that we play, I add a few more things that I feel comfortable with in the live performance. And it always gets better and better, I think. You know, if we're still a band in 10 years' time, I'm sure I've learned a lot more in the next 10 years as well.
Is there anyone in particular that you watch and take notes as it was?
Yeah, of course. I watched all of the... I mean, I love watching... Unfortunately, I wasn't in town for Glastonbury, so I couldn't go, but I love watching it on the BBC, and I've watched through a load of the performances, and there were a ton of performances there that I just thought were amazing. I was actually going to mention Laura Marling, even though her show is the opposite of what I was just talking about. I think it's very intimate, and it's very much to do with her music and her voice. She doesn't really perhaps need to engage the audience as much as I feel that we do, but her show is just incredible. I think it's really beautiful and amazing, and I think that really suits her music and her vibe to a T. I think that's just such a great strength that she has. What else did I watch? Well, Ed Sheeran. I mean, whether you like his music or not, you've got to admit he can really wow an audience, and like he can really get them going. I think there's hundreds of performers that could learn a lot from that. I certainly did. And especially to do it on your own as well. I think it's really, really impressive. Like a real celebratory show that for him and for the audience.
Yeah, I thought it was so bold of him to go on stage, last show of the festival on the main stage, on his own with a looper. That has got to take some massive balls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I certainly couldn't do it.
Brighton's finest. Juice.
Well, this time around at the Concorde, I can imagine you'll be performing a lot of the new album. Could you tell me a bit about the new album? Because a lot's happened since 2013's big TV, like weddings, births from other band members, and also a horrific car crash that you had to endure.
Yeah, I mean, all our lives have changed an enormous amount, as everyone's does in this kind of period of your life. It's quite common to find someone and settle down and get married and have kids and whatever else. And I think that the album probably does reflect that in some ways. I think a lot of Charles's lyrics are kind of deal with a few of those themes. kind of in relation to how your lives change as your friends kind of move away from you. When you're younger, when you're a teenager and in your early 20s, you see your friends, your mates all the time. And when you're in school, you see them every day. When you're a teenager and, in your kind of university years, I guess you see them once or twice a week and hang out with them every weekend and go drinking, whatever else. And I think that it's strange that as you get to this age, like you don't drift apart from your friends. Like you're still as close to them as you ever were, and you still love being with them. But you see people much less, I think. Like it's not unusual for us to see some of our best friends like once or twice a year. And it's interesting that doesn't really change anything in the relationship you have with your friends. That's something that Charles sort of touched upon a little bit in the lyrics on the record, which I really it really resonated with me. Like I kind of connected with that for sure.
Yeah, Charles has got an incredible way with words. One that particularly stuck out was, I took the life and soul of every dream until it sucked the life and soul out of me.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That song stands out for me on the record. I love that track. And
it's my
and
favourite
the lyrics
song.
in that song in particular are really, really great. Yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that one.
Have you been thinking about the next one? Because I can imagine, it's a long way to...
it's really funny that you say that, because we literally sat down this morning, Charles and I, to start writing for the next album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I live in California now, so when we have downtime, I usually head off back home. But the summer's actually, we're busy, but usually we're playing shows on the weekends, so we've got kind of the whole week's free, whole of the weekdays free. So we've got quite a lot of downtime that we thought we may as well fill up. So yeah, we're going to start doing some writing in the next few weeks, and I don't think we'll have an album anywhere near finished by the end of the year, but we have a few weeks here and there to start writing. So we're definitely going to make a firm, solid start and see how we get on.
Was there anything that you both discussed that you'd like to experiment with in the studio for the next one?
I think when we start out, we just try and listen to a lot of music, and kind of listen to what we like and what we like the sound of. So I guess in answer to your question, I could tell you what I'm listening to at the moment. I love the new Alt J record. I think that's incredible, and I love what they've done with those songs. Like they're very sparse and cinematic, and a lot of them are really understated production-wise. Like they're not too complicated, and that's something I think that we really admire. Like I'd like to make a record with that level of purity and simplicity. So that's maybe something that we'll think about. And to be honest, I've been listening to a lot of classical music, and I really like Max Richter. I really like that Sleep record he did, and I've been listening to that a lot. And I think some of the sounds and some of the way that that's recorded and performed is really wonderful and beautiful. I think that's something that we'll think about. But I say all these things. In the end, the record probably end up sounding nothing like that. But you've got to start somewhere. And even the thought of saying I will make quite a subdued, sparse record, I think is sort of ridiculous for White Lies, because most of our records are really sort of over the top and bombastic. So, but yeah, that's sort of that's some of the things that we've been thinking about anyway.
Brighton's finest.
This is Juice.